Right, everyone, Celtic 2, Motherwell 1 yesterday. Me and Stevie were on the reaction, so if you want some relatively instant thoughts, check that video out. Today I am going to do what we usually do on the kind of day after video, post-mortem type thing. Going to bring in some of your comments and we'll take it from there. So let's get on with it. The first thing that I wanted to touch on that I kind of neglected to mention yesterday, that I felt was quite important, was the full-time celebrations. I felt it was pretty significant that the Celtic players seemed so pumped up after the victory. There was a couple of examples that I saw at the time. Obviously it's impossible to kind of see everything, but Stephen Welsh was going nuts at full time, basically giving it all that to the support. And then Joe Hart, who was actually leading the kind of post-match lap in the absence of Callum McGregor, was giving it a lot of this to the fans and really pumped up. And yeah, I thought that was interesting. We know that Celtic weren't at their best yesterday. We know that we haven't been able to say that too often about the team over the last few months. And I think the importance of winning a game like that, winning ugly, so to speak, and winning after having that red card and hanging on to an extent at the end, I think was really important. It could be exactly what we need moving forward. We got away with it slightly yesterday. Now I know that may be a little extreme. We did create a lot of chances. Certainly, hit the woodwork twice. We had Kyogo had a couple of really good chances to score as well on top of his goal. I know we, in terms of all the metrics that you would use to judge a match of football, we were the better team, the superior team yesterday. But I just think with the way it ended, with Motherwell, not creating a major chance, but having a fair bit of territory in the end of that game, and it's hanging on a little bit with 10 men, I think those celebrations at full time were quite significant. I just wanted to mention that. I think now looking forward to Leipzig, hopefully that was exactly what the team needed to just get over this wee dip that I think we're in at the moment. We'll have a wee chat about the dip actually a wee bit later. First comment though is from Mickey Dem. I've always thought Cal Mack is the absolute linchpin of the team, but now I'd put CCV right up there beside him in terms of how important to the team he is. Yeah, Carter Vickers, I think if anyone had any doubts over his importance to the team, certainly after the last couple of games, that has been put to bed. I think there's a few factors in our recent performances. I think a lot of our players haven't been at their top level, but I think Carter Vickers is a main one. He just calms that defence down so much. He just makes things look easy, and I think he's a really good ball carrier as well. And in terms of his passing out to the right hand side is pretty good. I think Jens has done that well as well so far. Yesterday there was a few kind of dodgy moments he had. He looked a little bit unsettled yesterday. Stephen Welsh was the same. So I think if we can get Carter Vickers back very soon, ideally for Wednesday night in Leipzig, I think that's obviously going to be a major inclusion for us and a major boost. Just on the injuries, Giakoumakis, Starfelt, Carter Vickers. The latest we have from Ange on Friday was this. He said, Giakoumakis has pulled up a bit sore. He will miss the Motherwell game, but I'm confident after that he shouldn't be too far away. All of the other ones, like Carroll and Cameron, were injured prior to the international break, and they will still be missing for Motherwell. Carroll is still probably a couple of weeks away. So Starfelt clearly out of Wednesday. Giakoumakis should be fit, I would guess, from what Ange is saying. And who knows about Carter Vickers. I don't think that was a wholly positive indication from Ange there. I think actually having kind of looked at that and seen those quotes, I'd be a little bit doubtful of whether Carter Vickers will be back in. And obviously with Starfelt missing as well, it's going to be Welsh and Jens possibly on Wednesday night, and that's going to be difficult, but it'd be a massive boost if Carter Vickers was back and fit for Celtic on Wednesday. Sticking with American sporting heroes, our next comment's from Tom Brady. Not sure if it's that one, but anyway, Joe Hart did us a great turn last season, but has become a liability. Time for Ange to make a big decision before it really costs us. New number one looking like a priority now. The squad has been exposed as nowhere near as strong as some thought. A load of overrated garbage in there. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. I think it's a bit of a kind of negative view. There's clearly been a dip in performance over the last couple of games. I mean, the game before St Mirren was Shakhtar, when I thought we were pretty good that night and controlled that game and should have won that match. Carter Vickers has missed the last couple of games, as I've already said. I don't think it's the only factor, but it's a big one. In terms of Joe Hart, I actually thought for a fair bit of yesterday's game, second half, he did a fair bit of claiming the ball. There was 2 or 3 I can remember late on in the game where he kind of went to his back post and clutched the ball, and I thought really got us out of pressure at those stages. He did have one in the second half as well that he came for and didn't get, but eventually I think won a free kick because a guy clattered him. The goal, having seen it again, my conclusion is that I think they're both at fault. I really do. I don't even know if I could kind of give one more of the blame. I think Juranovic and Joe Hart are both at fault for that. It's hard to know as well when you don't have the kind of the audio of who has shouted what, exactly who to blame, but it just seemed like a real lapse in concentration and communication as well, and it was an absolute disaster of a goal. If Hart just didn't come out and stood in, a yard or two back, it's just an easy defensive chest back for Juranovic. But equally, if Juranovic is more aware that he has no Motherwell player around him and just leaves the ball, then it either goes out for a goal kick or Hart claims it and gets the play restarted. So it was just a disaster. Thankfully, it didn't cost us. Prepared to move on with both. I don't think Juranovic has been great so far this season. I thought yesterday, even prior to that own goal that he scored, I thought he was poor, probably our poorest player. His passing was really poor. He was taking too long in possession. He's one that I really want to see coming onto a game in the coming weeks. But again, I don't see the need for any drastic overreaction. I've seen loads of stuff since Fulltime yesterday of Juranovic just believing his own press and all of that. I just honestly don't think this Celtic team thinks like that at all. I don't think the environment allows the players to think like that. And I don't think he'd be playing either if he was thinking like that, given how Ange is and given how good a right back Anthony Ralston has become as well. So, yeah, disappointing yesterday, but we got the win. Moving on, Mac wants to talk about Haxmanovic, saying he needs more game time, he can change games. Thought it was interesting that Haxmanovic came on the right yesterday. I think Abada and Jota were also on the pitch at that time, so I kind of felt like it might be Haxmanovic on the left and Jota on the right. Didn't see a great deal of him yesterday. He maybe had one run on the right-hand side. I do think he looks like another player, one of our many players who looks better on the left rather than the right. I just think it opens the game up more for him, whereas on the right, he just looked not quite as good yesterday, but I think in general, he looks really good. To the extent that if he started on Wednesday night, I don't know if I'd be massively against that. I don't know if Dyson Maida's done enough recently to start that game. Obviously, Jota's going to be one of the wingers. If Haxmanovic was the other one, then I wouldn't be against that at all. I thought Abelgard looked good yesterday as well from that one pass he had. Obviously, pretty impossible just to kind of make a judgment on him from that. He literally had one pass, neat and tidy. The one thing looking at him is he's a big presence. Don't think he's ready to start on Wednesday night. People are always going to look at kind of out of the box suggestions, like could he start at centre back given that the issues that we have there at the moment, but I just don't think he's ready for that. Maybe St Johnstone next Saturday is when he could start. Just on St Johnstone next Saturday, I was looking into the Callum McGregor suspension stuff. We had a wee debate yesterday on the channel whether it was 1 game, 2 game. Haven't looked into it. It is just a 1 game suspension for Callum McGregor. It falls under denying the opposing team or an opponent a goal for an obvious goal scoring opportunity. That is clearly what it is. It's very different to these challenges we've seen a lot of recently, where players have been like taking other players out really high and getting straight reds for that would be endangering the safety or extreme force or whatever it is. Yesterday's was just clearly a last man challenge. I know the officials don't use that term. It's denying an obvious, whatever I just read there, that's what it is, and that's what it was for McGregor yesterday. So the update is he'll miss one match, and it will be next Saturday against St Johnstone. I don't think we'll appeal it. I don't even know if we can appeal it. Certainly didn't seem to be any complaints from anyone yesterday. I think we'll just take our medicine in that one. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Next up, concerned citizen. Difficult day at the office, but the 3 points are ours. I'm sometimes wondering whether you're a constant visitor to the Celtic Superstore yourself, Hamish. I'm assuming this is in relation to my comment to Stevie yesterday. I know I'm not making a good case for myself here. I've actually not been to the Celtic Superstore in about 10 days, so I'm doing pretty well. Next up is Mike. Anybody else think Jota looks either down or disinterested today? There was one moment McGregor was charging forwards, looking for Jota to sprint down the wing, but he just stood there, making McGregor turn back inside. What a hero McGregor was today, by the way. I remember the incident that you're talking about. I think he'd actually maybe pulled up at that stage, possibly cramp. Possibly something more serious, hopefully not. McGregor didn't have his best game yesterday, I didn't think, but I still thought his contribution was pretty big. Him driving the team forward at that stage was huge. After he'd played 3 full matches during the international break as well, the guy just doesn't tire at all. As I say, I thought parts of his game, and to be honest, so far this season, I don't think he's been quite at his top level, but he's still just such an important player for us. In terms of Jota, I didn't think he was great yesterday. I feel he's just going through one of those wee phases he has where he's maybe just trying a little bit too hard, taking too many touches, not doing things quickly enough. But saying that, he still had some good moments yesterday. There was one when he kind of chipped it over a player and then headed it over him again late on in the game that was brilliant. We know he goes through phases like this, and you wouldn't back against him to turn up on Wednesday night and do something special. I just thought the entire team was below average yesterday, but we won. It's fine, and we move on. Ray, Neil, no need to panic. 2 clear at the summit, on to Leipzig. I don't know if people are panicking. I don't know. I've not really been looking too much to see if people are genuinely panicking. If they are, I don't understand it at all. I know nowadays there's such an urge to kind of have this kind of definitive, forthright opinion on everything that is happening. I just personally don't feel that there's any real need to worry about where Celtic are going. I mean, as I say, 2 games ago, we were playing against Shakhtar Donetsk and should have won that game away from home in the Champions League group stage. A few games before that, we were beating Rangers 4-0 at home. I don't feel as if this Celtic team has now reached its peak and is in a downward trajectory. In fact, I can definitively say that's not what's happening here. I just think we're going through a little spell like we've had in the past. Let's not forget, what's this, the 2nd of October, so a year ago tomorrow, we were beating Aberdeen 2-1 at Pittodrie, and people were talking about that as being a massive result. We'd won a game when not playing well. Yesterday wasn't too dissimilar from that. We didn't play well yesterday and we still won, yet the expectations have just increased so much over that last year. But there was times last season as well when, the wins were a little bit, tighter. You can't win every game by a number of goals. I think we all just understand that the performance level can be better, but it's not as if the team are going to be sorting into training today or tomorrow and just thinking, all right, that's fine, Saturday was acceptable. They're going to have real high standards. They're going to know that performance wasn't anywhere close to the level that this Celtic team can reach. But we won the game. We're still top of the league. Everything's just ticking on, and I just think we're waiting on that big kind of result to get us going. This season it has just been so stop-start. I thought beating Rangers 4-0 would be that result, but then you go into Real Madrid, you don't play badly, but you're just up against a great team. Then you have kind of a weekend off, and then it's all just a bit weird. You're playing Shakhtar away in Poland, and then you're losing to St Mirren. It's international break then, and yesterday it's a weird kind of setup at the moment, and I just feel we need that big result to kick us on, and hopefully it comes on Wednesday. Yes, I think that's us. From tomorrow's video, we're going to turn the attention to Leipzig because the game isn't far away at all, really. We'll have Scott McDonald back on for a chat. Obviously, plenty to get our teeth into from the weekend there and looking ahead to the game against the Bundesliga side. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday or Monday or whenever you're watching this, and we'll chat to you tomorrow.